Hello, and welcome back to my car cave. Today we're going to be talking about GP Replicas 1/18 scale version of the 1998 Ferrari F300 driven by Michael Schumacher to both pole and a win at Monza. This is a limited edition of 500 pieces and comes in the standard GP Replica box as well as the acrylic cover we're used to on the modern versions. This provides a nice dust-free display, and we'll go ahead and now look at the car in detail. This model is consistent with GP Replica's typical high standards. You can see it's a high gloss finish on the paint, as well as you can see many of the photo etched rivets throughout the car. The wheels are outstanding. The decals are amazing. The carbon fiber is amazing. It does come on this leather base with plaque. It's limited to 1 of 500. This is a driver version. You also have a non-driver version if you're inclined to not have a driver. I personally like drivers, that's for me, but I understand that a lot of people do not, and they do offer a different option for those of you who are looking for driverless versions of this model. Looking at the front wing, this comes from an era of simple wings relative to what we've seen over the last 2 decades. This is the low downforce for MLS, so it's a 2-plane configuration. You can see that GP Replicas does have separate planes for these, which you would expect for a model of this cost and detail level. The carbon fiber is fantastic. I think you can see it. It's a striated or striped version or pattern of the carbon fiber, different than what we see on the suspension arms. The nose is great. You can see the Ferrari logos, and you can see all the rivets and stuff. Also, you see this camera, which looks to be in metal. I mean, it's not. It's just a great chrome covering. I think again, highly detailed. This on a different model would just look like silver paint. It looks like it's made out of metal, and yeah, that's what you would expect out of a GP replica, and they've done a fantastic job. So we had these yellow Goodyear tires that was great. I think it's the last year they made the Bridgestones in 98, or sorry, 99. The wheels are great. GP Replicas does a fantastic job. They look like they're made out of metal. They are not, but they have an amazing finish to them. You got the red wheel nut on this side and the blue wheel nut on this side. I think it looks great. The BBS wheels are very accurate. This is the era with the striped wheels, or the grooved wheel era. I believe 98 was the first year of that. Yeah, 98 was the first year. So that was new for everyone. And then if you look at the suspension arms, man, they were so thin back then, so fragile. As Schumacher would find out when he ran into Coulthard at Spa this year. You can see these are done in a checkerboard carbon fiber pattern. It's really, the detail is fantastic. I like this, and I like these the cutouts in the suspension arms here, trying to be as aerodynamic and as efficient as possible. But that's the suspension area of the car. I think again, high quality, what you would expect out of GP replica. So like I said, this is the driver variant. They do make a non-driver variant if you don't wish to have the driver. This one, again, I don't know. The helmet looks a bit big. It's the Aero helmet that would have been consistent with the time, but I just feel like it is a bit much. It's not quite as bad as the Mattel one that came out in 99. But this is, it to me is a little bit of a poor execution from GP Replicas. And so, for that, it's the one real knock I think I have on this model is that helmet. Otherwise, the driver figure is great. The cockpit looks good. You have a fabric seatbelt with photo etched parts, and again, here they use the visor with a little figure in it, kind of like Spark does. It's totally too much in my mind, but anyways, I can't complain too much. This one is not as bad as what is on the F399 version, but again, I think this is just, it's too big. The figure's too high. I really don't like this driver figure, and it's kind of partly why I'm leaving this car on the base, at the time, for the time, until I decide whether I want to keep it or not. Moving on to the middle section of the car, this is the barge board era, where you have some rivets there. Then moving back to the middle section here, you get the upper exhaust exits that were, I believe this is 98. Yeah, 98, probably about the first time we started seeing that in F1. Ferrari was not the first to come up with this idea. I don't believe, maybe McLaren was, but anyways, this is early days of the exhaust exits coming out of the top of the cowling. Lots of rivets throughout the model here, highly detailed, highly visible, really just well executed. This rear wing element also, as you can see, it's a multi-part wing element. I think they did a fantastic job of doing that. These exhaust exits look great. They're not just painted on there, not just black dots. It's an actual hole in the cowling, but high quality stuff. Again, typical of GP Replicas, and I can't say enough about it. This is a fantastic looking model. Like most GP Replicas, they come with the tobacco decals, which is kind of nice. So I put these on myself. The car did not come with these decals on them. This is a simpler one to put on than some of the other ones, but I will say the driver figures are very difficult to do. They give you every decal imaginable, but unless you can pull the driver out of there, you're not getting them all on there, like the driver suit and things like that. So anyways, just wanted to, point that out, and it's actually kind of fun. I enjoy putting decals on. I put them on most of my F1 models to make them more accurate. So that's just a nice little fun add-on for your model if you're interested in putting decals. Moving to the rear of the car, this is this is the Monza spec. So you had this low downforce rear wing, single kind of dual plane, but one red lower element and one very narrow white element there. It's a very unique design. It almost looks like it's missing part of its part of the wing, but it's just a low downforce spec that they ran at that time. Looks great. It makes it different from other versions of this model that were more commonly released. Again, you have the groove tires. You have these diffusers here that were, I don't know, they're more complicated than what we have going on. They're just different than what we have now. That's all done in carbon fiber, the rear tail light there. But yeah, again, this is a really nice, interesting model. Again, because it is the Monza spec, you do have the low downforce rear wing, which definitely distinguishes it from the regular release from Minichamps at that time. Lastly, I wanted to show you the Minichamps version from the same period. Again, this is a different spec, so you see the rear wings are, this is a more standard rear wing. Also, you had this aero element under the front suspension here that was not on the Imola version. And the wings, the wings look slightly different. There's more of a cutout here on the Imola spec, or sorry, the Monza spec, and this is a more full-size front wing that would have been common in a majority of the other races. Minichamps made a very nice version. This area is a bit different, different treatment. The wheels, this is back when they had the screw wheel. Those elements are not as detailed as they are currently from Minichamps. But back to the discussion about the helmets. This helmet looks far more accurate, far more correct in size, and really relative to what's going on with the GP replicas. I'm disappointed in the GP replica because an expensive model, and to get that helmet size incorrect just seems wrong to me. And as you can see on this one, the exhaust exits underneath the cowling. Later season development was to have them exiting up the rear, and I think that again, I can't remember, Ferrari or McLaren kind of came up with that concept first, but Yeah, so this is the first time you kind of start seeing that kind of treatment, and that became the future. So in '99, the early cars came out with those, and as well as other manufacturers. So I just wanted to show you the mini champs from that time period. It's a different race spec, so that it looks a little bit different. The quality is different as well. No arguments that the GP replica is a higher quality. I do like the GP replica, and I'll see if I go ahead and keep it. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe and like, and I'll have some more videos out and as I get new cars this year. Thanks again.